the last bit.
Really helpful tips and hints, yeah. Scare away all the newbies.
FYI, I'm already recording.
Oh, that's...
Oh, it doesn't, see?
I cannot trust you with the recording button anymore.
Well, then you'll have to download the recording software yourself.
Not on this beast.
Ooh. Is it really a beast if it's if it's lackluster?
It's more like the complete absence of beast.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. Okay,
a beast in the sense a hamster is a beast.
There you go. That durable sewer
there
rat.
is one inside keeping it on. Okay, well, this was an amazing start to this one. Thanks to you, brother. Okay.
Oh, this is good for the first one.
What are you talking about? We always have good starts.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm actually going to start it off a little differently so we know what we're doing. Introduce everybody. We'll say there's DSO.
And them's the ugly one.
Yes, we know that. And then we have Grime.
What's up? I can only feel half of my head.
I was trying to keep this introduction serious, but I couldn't do it.
It's not gonna happen.
And then we have Person 7.
No, we seriously have giggles. What's up, everybody?
And we have Squishy Jigo.
Hello, kitties.
And ZeroOne.
Hello.
And then there's myself, Metroid MST, and we have our list together, and it didn't take 2 years to get to this time. Alright, so...
To the MetCons podcast.
Yes, that too.
And don't forget that.
In case you were wondering what was happening. So we'll start off on the very first topic there, and that, I don't know why I made it that color, it's hard to read. Under your first
ZeroOne
one...
would be harder to read.
Well, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Alright, so your first topic was how to make more efficient use of your time spent hacking. So I guess we'll go ahead and throw that out there for discussion or whatever.
Oh, I was just curious what ways people would, basically how they made their hacking more efficient, made better use of their time. I mean, back when I made Angry Fire Chozo, I didn't have a job. I could just spend all day hacking, but now that I have a job and everything, I don't have all day, so I'm just curious about what ways people do to make it more streamlined and efficient.
Well, the first step is to obviously have motivation, which not many people have.
Very true.
Second, I would think I've noticed that back like a year or two ago, reading through some of the how do you do your hacks topic, or there was one on the off-topic posts in the forum. A lot of people like to have a method to how they do things. So
yeah,
typically I like to do all my graphics work first, while at the same time outlining any notes or ideas that I might use in the hack. And it's usually the graphics that shut me down from doing the hack, but I still try to keep a rough order with it. After that, it goes into map and level design, and that's kind of back and forth between the two, and stuff gets done.
Yeah, I don't particularly know there is a efficient way for anyone to hack. Maybe more efficient for themselves, but I don't think there's anything that would...
I think the most efficient way would be to have the proper tools.
Well, yeah.
That's just hacks that
Really a good start. It does help to have a big screen resolution, so you can like have a bunch of the tools up at once and everything, and obviously a computer that can handle running them all. Because I used to have like lunar address because I'm an idiot and I can't convert low ROM to PC in my head yet after 3 years of doing this. And
I do it too.
It's the easy way, so...
Well, I will say that I think it's helpful to make sure that you have everything you want in the ROM set up programming-wise. Otherwise, if you keep going back and forth between level design, programming, and map design, you'll just end up keep on expanding as you decide you want to add in new things. Whereas you really need to lock yourself in first before you go on to the map design and level design phase, or you'll end up just keep on adding more and more and more. And the further you get along, it seems like the further away the end is.
It'll turn into piece of candy kind of thing.
Are you? I think he's mocking me.
That's true. I mean,
That's how I build my
mistake
hack.
with Rise. And that was my mistake with Rise, because I've got most of the levels, the rooms and stuff done, but there's still some ASM things I'd like to have done and all that have just kind of been a thorn in the side, like I kind of can't really design around them yet, because I don't know how the
How they're
assembly
going to
stuff
work
is.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously there's ways that are terrible to go, just, I guess, going haphazard like DSO didn't mention I did, but was pointing me out anyway.
Honestly, I think the best step to actually really get efficient with it is eventually if kind of like what we talked a little bit about in the first podcast, that a super smile comes about that has the hex editor built in that can convert easily, that can do graphics, actually edit the graphics, not just flip the tables around. If you had everything into one program, that would make a huge difference.
It would be much more helpful that way. We also probably won't have something like that for a while.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It'll be worth the wait, though, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll happen eventually. It's just as the community grows. I mean, we're spreading a very slow plague.
That's how we have always been.
Yep. So, I mean, I really don't know of any way to, I would think, to spend an efficient time hacking, because I'm not particularly efficient hacker myself.
Yeah, me neither, man. I mean, I'm not even really, dedicated enough to, I guess if you were really good at, I guess, setting up, a schedule, all right, today I'm going to work on graphics, tomorrow I'll do some code, and kind of keep track of where you are and everything, and just kind of build everything up slowly at once, but I'm not that cool.
I hate schedules, I'll just say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess when I was making so little time, my goal was just for volume, so that's really what I stuck to.
Finish it, doesn't matter how brain hurt they are afterwards.
Are you sure it was just volume? Are you sure it wasn't, pissing me off?
He wanted to do that in volume.
That succeeded, I guess. I mean, what about you, Squishy? Do you have any suggestions for that?
Oh, I don't spend my time efficiently, so I couldn't suggest anything.
This was an amazing topic to suggest.
Nobody knows what to do. So lost.
What about you?
Maybe that'll give some people motivation to actually work out some kind of system when they see how hopeless we are.
Yeah, I guess it's just kind of like asking a whole bunch of alcoholics how to quit drinking.
That's true enough.
What about you, Zero? Do you have anything?
Well, with me, it's just I've got pretty much everything planned out already.
Oh, special.
Look at the fancy person.
He's efficient. Everybody talk to Zero if you want tips on that. That's
Yes, please.
Yeah, here's his email address and his
I will murder you all. With me, I've got my item path planned out. I've got graphics changes that I want to do written down, patches, and then I start drawing up the maps. So eventually when I get around to level editing, I know exactly what I'm doing at any point.
Ah, shut up.
So sad. Actually, congratulations.
If it makes you feel any better. If it makes you feel any better, I never actually end up doing anything. It's all planned out with nothing actually done.
The chip in the armor.
The rest of us actually do stuff where you plan everything.
I will say that I'm pretty good at keeping a list of little things that I need to go back and fix. That I'm just kind of, I don't want to sidetrack myself with doing.
Yeah,
that.
I have a list like that too.
It's a very big list, but it's there.
Nonetheless.
Yeah, I will say having a list like little bugs around, or have a master list of bugs I need to fix. That way, when I'm bored of other stuff, I'll work on those. It's kind of, I guess that could be considered efficient. And you're not boring yourself to death on everything. Okay, well, we were very knowledgeable about that subject, so we'll see how much better we are in the second one. I will.
How to use room obstacles well, such as
Yeah.
enemy and spike placement. Sorry, I had to steal your thunder there.
That is
Don't-
fine with me.
Don't put them right next to doors, because that's not a good idea.
Yeah, like, because a lot of people don't consider, I don't think, that, like, you don't come out, like, right in front of the door. You got to give, like, at least, like, 4 or 5 tiles in front of the door just to kind of give the player some breathing room. Like, if they're running through the door and they think, oh, I got to stop, you know, it's...
Yeah, because you do have some momentum running through that door.
Yeah.
I would also say there's some, with the enemies, you can be very creative without doing any special ASM or anything, just
Yep.
messing with their values, making some of the platforms or whatnot,
Or
and making
switching
some
their ag
puzzles with
corners.
them. So,
I'd like to mention scrolls as well, because those are definitely useful for making interesting
That's true.
room obstacles.
that is true. Just make good use of hiding stuff off screen, and then make sure your scroll works.
Yeah, it really does give it that edge when, you know, you actually have stuff like where you know, bomb a place in the wall and like you roll in there and like it reveals more. Like it's not easy to learn first doing it, but it's really worth it to do.
It
Yeah.
adds a lot of professionalism to the hack.
Yeah.
And
Surprised that pun went over MST's head.
It did. I'm tired.
dude, his avatar is like a shy guy. Like everything goes over his head.
They're short jokes now, huh?
I had to do it.
It works for me. I don't care. Oh. Let me see. So yeah, I mean,
I think the use of enemies and spikes shouldn't make it so that the player has to stop and think how to get out of the room, but stop and either allow them, or not even stop, either allow them to breeze through the room if done, like, they should just be basically like walls, so to say. Not like physical walls, obviously, but something where if you want to get through the room as fast as possible, you need to find an efficient path to avoid them, or
yeah.
that they need to be placed so that you need to stop and think about how you're going to go through the room and plan how to, not just stop and figure out how am I going to get out of the room.
Yeah.
AKA walking into a wall of monsters that are going to kill you in one hit and questioning yourself, why are there 8 Metroids in this room? What am I going to do?
Like one room in vanilla Super Metroid that I think has that problem a little bit is in the wreck ship after you kill Phantoon and you're on your way to that energy tank, the room with all the spike platforms.
Yeah.
That room is my bane. I hate that room. Die on a playthrough, it'll be in that room.
Yeah. That room is not fun.
Quick ship horrible in general.
It's not the best place, but that room in particular really...
That
If
is
they remove the water, it would be fine.
Somebody must have been like in a really bad mood when they made that room.
Let's see if we can get a spike hell in vanilla Minecraft. Vanilla Super Metro. Just playing too much
Somebody
Minecraft.
had to do-
It's like, I mean, there's good obstacles and bad obstacles. You can make, like Person was alluding to, you can make something where it's hard to get through. And generally speaking, playing a hack like that, where every room is a hassle to get through, is not very fun.
No.
MST.
My room's not that hard to get through.
That's the
But
thing,
then-
like
Really?
that's like what I forget if it was Person or Metroid MST saying that, but like where, yeah, you might for the first time you might kind of have trouble going through, but like if you know the room, like you could breeze right through it because you can. There's a flow to it. Like
Now that would
one of
be
those rooms-
slightly different to what I was thinking of. And there was also, I forget where it was, but there was a suggestion somewhere, like if you have a player go through a really difficult section, having like an elevator or a bypass somewhere so they could skip it entirely, if it's a
Yeah.
pain going both ways.
What I like to
Right,
do for
right.
things like that is like have like a kind of a partially hidden like morph tunnel under the room, like a crumble block or something. So on the way back, you can just roll under everything. Or
Yeah.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I kind of tried that in Angry Fire Chozo, but I don't think I implemented it that well because, like, the mock balls that I could have people skip, they weren't well hidden, and it seemed like most people just kept trying to do the mock ball anyway.
Oh, that room.
Well, that's what happens when you make it in a month. Did anyone else have anything to add to that?
I think the worst problem with spikes is that every time you get a new person into hacking, it's always rooms of spikes.
I love it.
I knew that pop up.
Oh, they need
I
to...
really like it, but if your room is more than, say, 30% spikes, I'm going to find you and I'm going to kill you, full of fail.
Bring it on, bitch. I'm gonna make a hack right now that's just 45% spikes in every room. Give you 15% more reason to hunt me down.
Make it so only the spike blocks can be touched.
Yes.
Oh, that's evil.
FX ideas to spice up your areas more.
Yeah. My favorite.
Right.
Oh, go for it then. You're the one who's doing everything.
Yeah, you're
with
like
FX
the
anyway.
FX god.
Alright, well, Black Falcon does have some disassemblies of, like, movement routines for things like fog that controls how the fog moves. So I'm thinking it's about time for some people to start changing, maybe, like, I think Green Kirby is the only person I've seen who's actually changed, like, the fog graphics and how they're laid out.
Yeah.
I think it's time for people to start playing with things like that more.
I did that with the Project Base. I don't know if it's in the version that I have out, the 0.5, but yeah, there was a hex change that Sadie found where you can control the fog direction and the fog speed using the liquid, the liquid start and the liquid new, like levels. You can play with it with
That's
that.
cool.
And I'd like to see that done with like spores, to being able to change the direction and speed of spores on a per room basis.
That would be interesting. To get through some... You could more mimic a snowstorm that way.
Yeah, or better yet, like a way to have different types of graphics. Like, I guess you would have to make a new FX1 or like replace one, like replace haze with it or something. But like, you know, in one room you have fog that looks like the traditional fog, and like in another room you can have like fog graphics drawn and tiled in a way where it looks thinner or thicker, or like, you know, individual plumes of smoke going up, stuff like that. Same with the spores, you know, you could have one room, you know, you got the little flaky looking things in Brinstar, and then like, you know, in Norfair you have bubbles rising around. And like,
Yeah, actually, bubbles sound interesting as FX effect.
Oh dear.
Scrolling sky bubbles, you've already done it. Stay away from it.
Well, no.
I've got a video where I turn the spores into rising bubbles in like a room that's made completely of bubbles with like bubble-looking enemies.
Really? I have not seen this video.
Really?
Sounds like a kid who just got candy.
Oh lordy.
Another thing I think would be interesting to see more is more of the liquid rising after you enter a room. A lot of times it's used with acid, but
Yeah.
not many people mess with that. I know it's a little weird to understand. I'm still not quite sure how it works, but you fiddle around with the values enough, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. It takes a little
Break it a few
jigging
times,
and-
you'll get it.
On that note, though, like kind of relating to the fog and the spore direction and speed, is being able to change like how high the tides go, like the tide small and the tide large.
That would
Change
be
how high those go and how fast they move. Variable.
That would be interesting to see, too. I guess there's a lot of untouched stuff we have with the FX.
Get on it, DSO.
Now I'm planning on writing some new, like, B bits to replace some of the copies Like, it has a jump table, and, has that 1A wacky transparencies that you can select, or, like, 1E, I think, is Meridian Waterfall. Some of those are actually duplicates of each other. So, but the table, it's like two tables, so you can change the one without affecting the other. And I'm intending on writing some new things, so that you can have, like, possibly a solid layer 3, instead of it being transparent. That way you can have it layered over the top, like Donkey Kong Country 2. Or you could have it be like a third scrolling background.
Ooh, I like that.
It's that's just what we need is more layering. We'll give people 3 layers to work with.
Which will in turn have them editing graphics to have like 6 or 7 layers. Looking like.
They almost do that with the 2.
I've already seen rooms that look like they have like 4 layers in them or something.
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing is that with layer 3, you can actually make it look like there's still a background that scrolls differently, instead of having it have to be all set up so the background and foreground layers scroll at the same rate, so everything stays together. That'd be a nice thing about having FX3, or layer 3, take that role over.
Yeah.
We pretty much kicked that subject's ass. That was a pretty complete thing.
I think so, yeah.
Good time to transition to the next.
Oh, yes. One of the hacks released was Airs 2012. So I'm going to assume, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure we've all played it.
Yes.
I actually haven't played it since you released it. I did the beta testing for it and all that, like, before it was released, but I haven't played it since he made a bunch of the fixes and whatnot.
Same thing here.
Great. Half of us kind of know what we're going with here.
Well, I can say that with the remake, I did get a lot further than the original, though I am currently stuck, and I've been stuck for about a month now, or however long since I put it down.
That's no good.
Now some of the things with it, because I actually have been through the whole things, some of the things I've found with it where I guess he was going for like an easier overall to it, I actually found it a little more difficult than the last version.
Well, the way he told it to me is that he wanted it to be more of like an NES game in essence, like the older games that were hard as hell, but you could still beat them with enough retrying and all that. And I did like that some of the enemy damages were adjusted and whatnot. That was a big change. I like that. Because the earlier version, that was my biggest grumble about it. Is like, I'd get killed in like 3 hits.
Yeah. Yeah. I did not know that because all I heard was he was just going for easier because I knew he wanted to port it onto a cart and play it on a console. So I must have misread something somewhere.
Or just not heard word of it, but either way.
Yeah. Yeah, but
I will say that I still think that Airs 2012 would probably be too hard to do on the console unless you just play the hell out of Super Metroid in general on the console.
Yeah, because I'm playing on emulator on the Wii, and I obviously have no save states, and it's actually not that bad. But then again, I am the person who does run Super Metroid on a daily basis, so...
Yeah. So what did you think of the changes in it? Was it worth redoing the hack, I guess?
I mean, honestly, I can't say too much about that because it was so long ago that I played the first version that a lot of the changes that he made, they didn't really stand out to me. I know he worked a lot on just spiffing up some of the rooms, like the aesthetics and all that. Mm-hmm. And obviously, like the alien room.
That's probably my only complaint with the hack is I didn't really like the aesthetics for the space jockey room. It just looked really... It didn't fit in with the rest of the hack to me. It was kind of a style clash. I liked the room, and it was as creepy as hell. He definitely got a dark vibe with it.
Yeah.
It's what he wanted to do. It worked in its own right.
Yeah. So that was one of the weirder, I guess, standalone rooms people come across. in any hack.
I thought it made perfect sense. It was just some creature that had downloaded this hack called So Little Time, and it just got stuck, and it died in its chair trying to play its way out.
I think your hack's becoming the epitome of a bad hack, Misty.
I already knew that for a while.
You think?
More hated than Kaizo.
Mine is not. I don't have any Kaizo challenges in it.
Yet.
Doesn't need them. It's worse.
It's worse.
Kaizo
At least with
aspires to
Kaizo,
be
it's
you.
like, at least with Kaizo, you know, you can think, well, I need to make this jump. I know where to go. But with so little time, it's like, ooh, I'm making progress. Oh, no, I'm not.
Where did I
2
go?
steps forward to 6 steps back.
Wouldn't the ratio be 1 step forward, 3 steps back?
Well, yeah, I just felt like
He was
I had to-
expanding on it.
It's okay. Yes, it's okay. It's okay.
I will remember this crime.
Good.
There will be
Not like you
no,
can exact revenge on him since you're already
there
torturing
will
me.
be no spikes in the next one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bastard.
I mean,
Just for that, man, I'm going to replace all of Bubble Norfair in the next project. And
well,
there will be one bubble, and you will have to destroy it to reveal an item. It won't respond.
I may rethink the spike thing. But I mean,
Too late, and you threw the gauntlet. I'm picking that shit up. It's mine now.
I actually kind of preferred the first version of Eris. Honestly,
yeah, I did too. There was a few rooms that they felt a lot better design-wise, like the Spacer room felt really good, but most of the I felt like the first version was better.
yeah.
I think the first version just has an advantage because of it was new and it was amazing.
That could be true. I would kind of know the hack a little bit now that we've replayed it, I guess. So, but I found a lot of the what were they? Especially around the Metroid area, around Kraid, that little nest area. He has 2 wave beam gates in there, and I did not appreciate either one being there. They were, they just seemed kind of weird placed where they were. But, I mean, they still worked out. But
I'm starting to think that I should probably go back and attempt playing the first version again. Just because I have the feeling that I've gotten a lot better at playing Super Metroid since I've started running it and whatnot, and like this is kind of a show to that. So I'm probably missing out on quite a few things because I don't know. I think I hardly got supers in the original and then quit.
There was like 10 in one room.
About that.
yeah.
I wanted to get it and get out.
Yeah, he removed 7 of those in the new one.
Yeah.
That was kind of disappointing to me. Because I'm going through, like, this time I couldn't grab evasion before Spore Spawn and Botswoon, so
Yeah.
I had to do them, I guess, the correct way.
Yeah, getting evasion so late was kind of a bummer.
It was. I mean, because you could have passed it the first time and went through them without it anyway, but
That's what I did my first run on Ares. I didn't know about evasion until way later.
yeah. So, it was nice being able to grab it earlier in the first one.
Yeah, it really helped, I think, balance out like the enemy damage thing.
Yeah.
I will, and the spin jump restarting was a big help too, and that would have been really nice to have evasion for.
Yeah. That is a nice little thing you can add in. It makes playing some hacks much easier when you can just restart your spin jump
I mean, I know it's kind of like part-way cheating, but like when I play a new hack that doesn't have that in it, I'll usually just put the spin jump restart just because I'm so used to that. It's like it's a needed mechanic now. I can't live without it.
Especially if you have like tall wall jumping sections.
Oh
'Cause
my
if
god.
if you mess that up, you have to fall all the way back down before you can redo it without
All
the
the
spin jump
way.
restart. So
We're so spoiled.
Well, we're hackers. We're supposed to be. We can do whatever we want with the game.
We've earned that privilege.
some of us have played so little time, so we want something easy now. Alright, well, I think, unless anyone else has anything else to say about, that was good English right there. If anybody has anything else to say about the new Eris?
Cricket
It
noise.
didn't have enough spikes.
It had just about the same amount.
It had bubble spikes. What are you talking about?
It did.
That's
That's
true.
all you need.
That's like the best combination you can get. I will say there was actually one room that scared me much worse than the alien room. Was the big Metroid room.
That was a good room.
Whatever little hex changes he did to that Metroid, when it just lunged at me and then flew off, that scared me a little bit. What in the world?
See, I knew it was coming because I helped him a little bit with it, so it didn't surprise me that much. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I knew a little bit about the alien thing beforehand, because obviously DSO worked on that a little bit, so I knew a little bit about that, but that big Metroid was a little creepy.
Rawr.
Okay. On to the next one here, remaking hacks. Seems to be more common now. I mean, it was done with Dependence, it was done with Eris, and Redesign's getting the same treatment now. So,
Are you talking about?
oh yeah, and Pantheon. I forgot Pantheon.
Are you talking about that Metroid X 101%
Yeah.
run for Dependence? That doesn't really feel like a remake to me so much as a hack of a hack.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it didn't really follow the same route or anything.
Yeah. I would kind of tend to agree with you on that. But, I don't know, what do you think about the hacks being remade? No.
I think it's a good thing. I mean, I think it's cool to go back on these older hacks and fix up
Yeah.
things and add new elements to it. And for one, it makes them more accessible too, like to new players coming in. I think
definitely.
because a lot of people, I mean, might not be the case with hackers quite so much. Maybe it is. I don't know. But like a lot of new people are really drawn to like hacks when they know that it's got new items, new moves, or new programming and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a lot of static. Oh, well, I'll just denoise it.
I think that it's a good idea to, like, you can look at it as like a revision in a way, and then you can also look at it in the way that I just lost my train of thought.
It's the water.
I think Project Base should be remade,
Oh, you're a funny man, funny man.
Well, that's the whole point of Project Base, isn't it? And Vanilla Plus Plus.
Yeah.
Suppose you have a point. It's not even done though. I don't even have a version 1.0 out yet. Well, I did, but that was before I knew about version control.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
this
obviously,
is my point at. It's good to revise your old projects, just mainly because you were going to have people that bitch about certain things.
Yeah.
Listening to people is never a good thing.
But taking it with the slightest hint of suggestion or what's the word? Critique never hurts.
Well, sometimes hurts. If it's bad advice.
Then don't take it.
yeah. I mean, I guess I am a little bit excited that redesign's getting remade.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
he's
close
been
to being
through a
done
lot.
too, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. I mean,
He gets like real close to getting finished, and then he gets these new ideas for it, and that's
Yeah.
cool.
He's got a lot of polish going on right now.
Yeah.
I can't wait to play that.
I mean, because I like the original. It's an amazing hack, but I never liked the physics. Now the physics are changed slightly. That grapple room that kills everybody has been changed, which is that is a good thing. Because I think person spent like 2 hours dying in that room. And you can't claim SLT is that bad.
No, SLT
I don't
is
know,
not
I-
bad
no,
for
I-
conditions.
I mean, spending 2 hours dying as opposed to 2 hours wondering if you're even getting anywhere.
Over the same room. At least you have a challenge in front of you if you're dying. Not if you're
Yeah.
lost.
They're
Lost doesn't
different
even
challenges.
describe so little time experience. Lost is just too weak of a word for that. That needs like a new word invented for it, man.
Well, so little
So
time.
he-
The thing about that is that you're not lost. You just knowing where you're at doesn't help.
Well, that's
Exactly, that's like beyond lost. That's like meta lost.
Like when you finally get in the room you want, you don't want to leave it.
It may be a copy room. The door may lead you somewhere else.
I know, I finally get to a new room, and I'm like, no, I don't want to go through a door. Please, no.
Oh, speaking of being remade, that is being remade. Most of you already know about that, but
Dead silence.
That was a
they're
good movie.
they're all face palming. So
No, I have my wrist blade ready for when it's released. So that I mean, my computer's already situated in a corner. I just gotta squeeze myself back there and then start cutting myself when it comes out.
it won't be that bad.
Don't lie to me.
It'll be worse.
Squishy has it.
I prefer Squish's honesty over your lying MST.
You're the one who made some suggestions on here.
I know. Figured I might as well not go down alone.
Let me see. What about you, Zero? Do you have anything on remaking hacks? I know you've restarted your hack.
Yes, I restarted my nothing, so now it's pretty much back to where it was.
Nothing.
On the upside, it's going to be a lot less crap, in theory.
Theory.
That's how we all start our hacks. But this is not going to be as crap as the last one I did.
Well, it's not going to have spikes all over the place, so I'm proud of that.
So Bubbles.
Yes.
What do you mean they're not mentioned? I'm sure they were at least mentioned in the edited version.
Nope.
They were not. No.
They were not mentioned.
Seriously?
You cut all the bubbles out.
Wow, I'm
That
sorry.
was half our podcast, and you cut it all out.
It wasn't related to the topic.
It was off
That's
topic.
true. That's true.
Well, now it's related to the topics.
Yeah, there's no way out of it now. So, Bubbles, this is more your territory.
Yes. This is.
Why so fixated on Bubbles in ST?
I just like them. I think I've explained that before.
They look nice.
They're an easy tile to work with. You can't mess up putting bubbles. You can flip them upside down, and they won't look bad.
Yeah,
So-
they look
It's like a circle. No matter which way you turn it, it's a circle.
the reflections, though, like if you have a bunch of bubbles flipped around next to each other, there's no light source anymore.
That's true.
No, there's multiple light sources.
Squishy has it. And like, if you're just starting out, you're trying to use the Norfair tiles, like, 'cause it looks cool and all that. It's using that tile set's not the easiest thing to do, and using some other tile sets aren't that easy. And you just take your 4 base bubble tiles, or Wait, no, there's 5, I think. And you could just build with that, and it's not going to look the most impressive, but it's also not going to look really bad either.
I think bubbles look best when they're used in conjunction with other tiles to add more aesthetics to the room.
Yeah. They do blend in well with a whole lot of other tile sets.
They really do.
When I was a kid playing Super Metroid, I actually thought that the bubbles were like baby Metroid eggs that were yet to hatch, and that the bubble areas of Norfair were just like a massacre waiting to happen at any point.
I remember kind of thinking the same thing, like there was something in them. Although there is one tile that...
Yeah, the one big bubble.
No, well, there's that, but there's one tile that I almost want to say looks like another form of the bubble. It's the one that's like the top half of it's green.
The little mushroom.
It's like the one's like in that reserve tank room. You can see them the most in there. And it just kind of hit me at one day. I'm like, whoa, what if those are like a bubble too, but not a bubble?
I always called them strawberries because I thought the original NES version of those tiles looked like strawberries to me. So I just call them strawberries.
Yeah.
They do, don't they?
In the original NES, they got the big green and then they're really red on the bottom. It's got like little dots in the green part or something. They really do look like strawberries. If you use your imagination a little bit.
Strawberry bubbles.
Wonder how that tastes.
Oh, and another thing I want to mention about bubbles is when doing the palettes, make the palette all the way through. Because sometimes I see bubbles that they change the palette, but it's not all the way through. They left like the little red part that the Norfair glows effect the same, and that red does not look good with a lot of palettes you come up with, so make sure you really, just like any other tile set, don't be lazy about it and just finish the whole line.
Don't
Sometimes
be lazy.
You have limitations.
When it's the extra mile, just change the glow too.
That's true. So yeah, I am very harsh critic about bubbles.
He likes his bubbles with caviar.
What?
Yes, he has a strong fixation on round, spherical things.
He's that fish from Finding Nemo.
You're so right.
Those bubbles pop.
But they're bubbles nonetheless.
I can't build a room out of those. I never made that connection before. It's kind of similar.
That sounds like a good idea to make a room out of popping bubbles.
Didn't one of the Game Boy games actually make the bubbles into like egg pods or something, or like mutate them more? I thought I remember seeing like a bunch of bubbles connected to something.
Like before the Queen Metroid 2, it finally threw bubbles in there, and they're and like the big Metroid eggs kind of looked like the larger bubbles, so.
Another thing that
obviously was all black and white, so they all look the same. But
another interesting thing someone mentioned about the bubbles, I don't know if it was ESO or somebody else, but that they thought like the bubbles were glass or something. It's like Samus can walk on them and all that.
Yeah. And if you notice, in the original games, bubbles are always around lava.
And then like the middle of the bubbles could just be like a chunk of cave rock or something, the orange things.
Yeah.
That is
or
very
lava.
Interesting, yeah.
That is actually... we have theories about video games.
About a very specific video game tile. Need to make a...
Oh, that's how you learn about the universe, is you dig really deep.
Need to have a... need a bubble subform on Metcon now.
Doing it right now.
I
We'll
would.
make Metroid MST the mod.
Only
And
good.
next time, the analysis of kelp tiles.
So, shall we move on?
Yes.
Oh, well, I guess I'll mention some. Oh, this is Person's one, so. Right, Person. So, you asked us, how useful do you think ASM is in hacks? And will it become, or is it necessary for hacks to be considered A-tier material? I can't talk today. So I actually think this is a very good question, so.
It certainly isn't necessary to be A tier, but it certainly helps.
No, because when I made the A list, some of the hacks that I put on that were, they didn't use ASM at all.
Definitely.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously it's not necessary, but some people view that the more ASM you have, the better your hack's going to be. I mean, that's noobs aside. There are some people who think that whenever you include ASM, it will be a much better hack.
It
But-
depends on what kind of stuff you're adding.
Yes,
It's-
And your
that's
skill
true.
at implementing the things that's added, too.
Exactly.
To me, it's more about not so much the skill or how complex the ASM is, but if it's something that you could have seen as being a part of the original game, like something that, like, it felt like the original creators could have done that but didn't.
yeah.
I mean, one thing we've already all gone over is the spin jump restart, and I think that's soon. I feel at least that's soon going to become like a staple on hacks. That it'll make the hack just feel more. I don't know. They could have done it with Super Metroid, but they didn't because the idea wasn't there at the time.
Mhm. Yeah, I really don't think it's necessary for a hack to be considered A-tier material. It's like a lot of the hacks I really like a lot, like searching for items on Oxide don't have it, Mockingbird Station doesn't have it. There's ways you can make the hack fun without using ASM. You just have to be a little creative or just basically make a fun hack. And that does not require ASM to do that.
Really, I mean, all a good hack needs is just good level design and good color choice. That's pretty much it.
Good progression too. Don't forget
Yeah,
about that.
good pacing to it too. So
Um,
oh, go
going out on a little bit of a limb, would we consider hex edits small bits of ASM?
Well, it depends on what you're hex setting.
Like
Your
the hex edits up on the site we're talking about.
I don't really consider those ASM since somebody who has no idea what a compiler is or how to use an ASM file could still do it with a little bit of effort. I don't really consider those ASM, though I guess technically they are.
Yeah,
Yeah, I consider the line kind of blurred because a few ASM things I'm doing now, I'm not even opening up a notepad or making something to compile. I just open up in the hex editor and just write it there. Just type in the bytes to write out my code. So I guess if you're doing that, it definitely is ASM. But if you're just tweaking a value, like it's the value being loaded, I don't really think that's
right.
changing programming so much as just
Like editing boss health.
Adjusting something or nulling a line.
Holy crap, we've been talking for 55
I guess that's a break onto a new topic. There's your dead air for you.
That was
Man,
impressive.
this is going to be a long podcast.
Hey, floor
5
patch.
minutes.
Yeah. Well, we haven't been recording for all that, but we'll be. Well, everybody done with that topic then?
yeah.
I am.
All right.
Acheron is now known as Hackeron. And
Yeah.
then he disappeared again.
Oh.
Really,
This was a.
he's online right now,
Is he?
as far as Skype's concerned.
Oh.
Oh.
That doesn't count.
Hopefully he's still in the kitchen cooking something up.
I was definitely glad when he came around again, though. He
Yeah.
seemed
It was.
At least he wasn't dead.
that's always a plus.
Yes.
What's funny about it is all that, like, I mentioned this last podcast, but I saw him, I saw him in the chat room on Twitch before he came back to MetCons, so I thought it was kind of funny.
He's probably going back to school again now that summer's over, though, so he probably won't have a whole lot of time to work on it.
Yeah.
Oh god, don't remind me.
Yep. So, for all you looking forward to Aegis, it's still being picked at. So, it's not entirely dead. So,
It's kind of twitching occasionally.
he's connected the paddles to it.
Yeah, I was going to release it like in 2017 or something, but now he's back, I'm not gonna release what I've got, so unfortunately for you, it might have just been delayed by his reappearance.
So much confliction here.
Yeah, I think he'd still finish it eventually. He may be in a wheelchair by then, but... So
On to viewer questions! Ooh.
Yay!
Zeke still hasn't said anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, we need to discuss that or something.
What's there to discuss?
We're
Why he's
discussing...
not here.
That's right, we're discussing his lack of giving me a topic despite constant prodding, so... Maybe that's why he doesn't give me a topic.
At least I made up for it. I mean, I didn't contribute any topics, but then in a PM conversation with Metroid Mist, that ROM hacking article of mine kind of came up as a possible area of interest, but I don't know if that'll still be saved for a separate episode or if it could be worked in here.
Well, I guess we'll see depending on how much time we have, because I think we could actually, that could be a pretty deep topic there.
Yeah.
So, I guess we'll go ahead and get through these questions and we'll see about that here. So, Weber, I guess now goes by Charmander, and Jamie Webb were the only ones who sent any questions in, so Weber, start off with, what kind of physics do you find enjoyable?
Roller coasters.
Well, I think he means in Super Metroid.
I agree, roller coasters are awesome.
They are.
They are pretty fun. The long lines, though, those...
Yeah, those for
I'm used to them.
minute and a half ride. You wait 2 hours.
I guess is self-ego stroking as it sounds, like, really? I mean, project-based physics are pretty legit, like, because they have the same pace as the vanilla, but there's just a lot more openness to them, a lot more freedom of movement, but so it feels a lot faster paced.
I will agree with that. I think those are probably the best physics I've seen.
I mean, I haven't really played many hacks that have different physics aside from, like, Angry Pie or Chozo and Redesign.
Yeah.
Crash Tour's using new physics, isn't he? With his...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He is. Hyperion used new physics. That's really all I'm aware of to actually change the physics.
Well, Event
What kind
Horizon
of
Demo had the high grav area, like anybody
that's
cares
true,
about Demo, but...
I didn't think it was too bad.
Yeah, I mean, Rise's physics are generally the same. You just have lower jumps is pretty much it.
I think a change in physics is a good change in pace, but other than that, it's...
You have to
all
make
good.
sure your hack is built around it well.
Yes.
Yeah, it won't work out so well if you adjust the physics after you make the hack, unless you go through and tweak the rooms to match those.
Which
That
would
boils
not
down
be
to getting your
efficient.
stuff done first.
Yes, personally, I really do like the vanilla physics, but I will say that you can use other physics and make a good hack with them. You just have to make sure you're built around that, because that's what your game engine's basically working with. So,
I guess also worth mentioning is that the early versions of Project Base were kind of a combination of vanilla physics and redesigned physics, because gravity was a lot heavier and everything. You weren't so restricted with horizontal movement and whatnot.
yeah.
I know, I don't know if it was Squishy or somebody else, but like they liked the older versions a lot more because of the physics. I forget who it was.
It was somebody.
Somebody out there.
Somebody named you know who you are.
I know I did like the original's physics, because you could abuse how that worked. But that's just me.
Well, that
Does
abuse
any-
extends to, like, that's just the movement engine. I mean, that extends to pretty much any physics. You can still mock ball in high gravity or low gravity.
Yeah. I don't know, there's a lot of ways you can go about it, but I guess you just have to make sure to test it and make sure it works. So if you have this really weird set of physics, but it really works within your hack, that's going to be perfectly fine. It's going to be enjoyable. So
I'm gonna.
I'll be interested in seeing like variable physics later on. Like I think DSO is working on something like that, like where the gravity will vary per room and whatnot. You could even do things like have like I don't know, like certain rooms, like I guess like if you could come up with some clever way to make like the horizontal movement variable per room too, but that would seem more logical than a gravity change.
Yeah.
But,
I will say that the sort of things I like the most are not drastic changes from like the normal physics, but like additions to what you can do. Like Exia had those blocks that bounced you up or pushed you down. I like those sort of things that play with the physics but don't necessarily change them a whole lot. They just add additions to what's already there.
Yeah.
I can agree on that.
That way.
yeah, I like the subtler things too. That kind of it's like a small change, but at the same time it affects like so much of what you can do. Like
sort of like jump, restart.
Yeah, or
keeping your speed after landing from a spinning jump.
Yeah, that too. Or I think Project Base is the only one that's used this so far. But like where if you're holding the run button and you jump, it'll do a spin jump without having to be moving.
Yeah. Which is completely logical also. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I actually do mean that. It probably didn't sound like it, but... okay. I think that topic's pretty well done, unless you have anything to say about that, Zero.
Pretty much just, if you change the physics, you've either got to stick with it through the entire hack or be prepared to rewrite, redesign everything.
Yeah.
Alright, redesign.
I see what you did there. Okay.
I'll be here all week.
Alright. So, next question is, does anyone dream of Super Metroid hacks?
I do.
I dream of having Super Metroid Fear and the next Angry Fire Chozo out before I die.
I see SLT in my nightmares.
No, I see SLT in my nightmares.
Yeah, that would made person disappear for a year, so...
I'm kind of worried that I don't see so little time in my nightmares, because that means, like, if I go to hell, that's what it's going to be. It's just an endless haze of, well, bubbles, I guess, which wouldn't be so bad, but...
You won't get anywhere.
In all honesty, though, I can't really say that I have ever dreamed of a Super Metroid hack.
Yeah.
I've had dreams of, like, the original game, but curiously, I haven't really dreamed about Metroid ever since I started hacking, so I guess you could say that's a Super Metroid hacking for me has done the opposite. It's pushed me away from dreaming about Metroid.
Satisfied your need.
Yeah,
I haven't...
Go ahead.
I haven't... Oh,
Sorry,
one
go
of us
ahead.
is going. Alright, I guess that's me. I haven't dreamed of any hacks in specific, but I have dreamed of, like, just weird, like, hack-related stuff, like seeing crazy level designs and just all kinds of things that have never been done in hacks that I don't really remember when I wake up. Because I've woken up and I'm like, I had a dream of some wild Metroid shit going on. But
Well, that's
I
pretty
don't
much
really
what I figured. Pretty much what we were talking about. Just insane
Yeah.
level design in your dreams. Because
I
I've
know,
had some pretty amazing stuff.
I know when Fire Phoenix was still working on Volta, one day he popped on IRC and he was like, holy shit, I had a dream that I'm totally putting in my hack now. It just totally works. And then
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say I've ever dreamed of anything since I've started hacking either.
Nothing at all?
No. I mean, beforehand, my brother and I, one of my sisters, used to draw a whole bunch of Metroid stuff. We'd make our own maps and stuff. And when I was doing that, I would dream about a lot of Metroid a lot. And ever since I've been hacking, I can't say I've really dreamed of anything Metroid related. I've dreamt of Legos, but
Legos.
that doesn't really count.
I guess you could say I've had dreams of what Grime mentioned, like super cool level design, but there's I don't know how well that fits in with the topic because there's no way to differentiate what I'm seeing from being, just an additional to the original versus it being a hack. There's nothing that says it's a hack.
Yeah, pretty much that.
Yeah.
But if people dream about Super Metroid, then yeah, I dream about Super Metroid.
Okay. Oh, what about you, Zero? Your whole hack's about a dream, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Did you dream that up?
I have never had any type of Metroid dream. It's weird. It's all I talk about all day, and that's it.
Like, nope, I'm done with that. Your brain's trying to tell you something. It's like you're done.
That's all you talk about all day? That sounds kind of...
Awesome. Me and ZeroOne have kind of the same premise of the hack, because, dream sequence, the name doesn't tell you enough. You remember from the intro trailer, it's basically saying that, like, something was all screwed up with Samus again. I don't know, some kind of infection, virus, STD, whatever. And so she has to get put under to get purged of it. And so it puts her, in like this dreamlike state.
Yeah.
And so basically the hack, I guess you could look at it as just a flashback of something. I don't know.
I think it was
Oh, go ahead.
I think it's the alternate universe where Samus was raised by Digital Mantra's version of the Chozo who smoke all kinds of weird stuff.
You mean they didn't? I thought they did.
No, my version of the Chozo just has them being barbaric and eating each other like cannibals. And psychic torture and whatnot, but drugs? No.
That's crazy.
Super Metroid Salvia Divinorum.
I was going to say, even my hack was based off a dream, just because I could throw weird stuff in wherever, and it would make sense because it's a dream.
Yeah, that's what's fun. You can have inverted platforms and just all kinds of weird crap that doesn't make sense logically, but it doesn't need to.
Yeah, it's a dream. I've never had a dream that's I woke up and said, wow, that made sense.
You've also got to be careful about it, because I had an enemy and I didn't set up the palette correctly, so it looked completely weird, and I thought, I'm going to keep that, that's an awesome glitch. I look at it now and thinking, why?
This isn't a glitch hack, this is a dream hack.
So, yeah.
Of course, I don't know, I guess it's possible you could have a dream where things glitch up and whatnot, but...
And actually, Jamie's one question actually kind of goes in with this, which I guess we've already kind of answered. He asked, can a Super Metroid hacker get some kind of concept for their hack by means of dreaming? And I think, some of us may have. I had a lot of ideas and dreams before I started hacking about Metroid. Some of my stuff probably stems from that.
The original concept of Event Horizon was taken from a dream. That wasn't Metroid, but it was from a dream. But then the way Event Horizon turned out went completely sideways. Because originally it was like you were stuck in a singularity in the dream, where I was going through like a recurring pathway, where how a singularity is a point where the only way to go is closer to the center. It was sort of like the dream I had. I was going through different tunnels, but they kept looping back around, even though it made absolutely no sense. It was kind of like so little time. I just ended up back where I was, even though I was headed a different way. So that was the original idea for Event Horizon, was to have basically a bunch of different areas that kept looping back around to like a central point. And as you collected more items, you'd be able to cover more paths until finally you could get enough to find the one way out. But from that it changed into the version you have the demo of.
Thank God.
That's an interesting concept, though. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Well, if you go down a path, there's one path open, you go through it, you collect the item at the end, you go through a door and you get warped back to like the main room. And like if you have wave beam now, you can open a gate, go down another path. Now you have supers. Now you can go through another path once you get warped back. I think that's
It wasn't
how
quite like that, but it's similar in concept, but not so knee-jerkingly. All right, you're back at start.
So in other words, not like SLT.
Well, more like, well, it would be like SOT, but the room copies were changed somehow. Like maybe the palette was different.
I did.
I guess vaguely related to that in the sense of mind trippery is I remember Jathies was talking about with his hack that he was going to have, I think, like the items would be in different spots each
Yes,
place.
I did see that.
He did a little demo video of it.
Yeah, he made a little video, and I guess some blocks he gave a certain BTS, and then the game decided.
Yeah,
and
randomly.
it was based randomly that the item would appear in one of those spots.
Yeah, because in like the video, he loads up a save and he goes into a room and picks up a missile, and then he resets the game and goes into that same room, and the missile is like somewhere else, and that was pretty rad.
That just sounds like TAS is worst idea ever for TAS.
Oh no,
A
we
lot
dropped
more
Squishy.
research would need to go into that, like luck manipulation to the max.
Oh no, we dropped Squishy.
I see that.
It's okay,
Quality improved.
it's okay, he wasn't talking anyway.
No, he was letting the booger tooth talk.
Dude. Oh.
Boy. Well, hopefully we can get him back here.
Beep. Oh.
Well, he's online at least.
I'm back.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, there he is.
Grimes said nothing but nice things about you.
All day.
Alright, well, I think that's pretty good for that subject there. Which one did we leave off? I guess this is more of an... Yeah, there's a little bit of feedback here. That's lessons. Which one did we leave off?
What about a water box PLM?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I'm gonna go ahead and... Oh my god, somebody beeped me in IRC. Hold on.
Graven Zero.
Okay, what about a water box film? It actually already exists. I said something about it in a hidden thread, and Sadfish went ahead and did it for me.
Cool. Does it work just like it should?
Well, I haven't tested it yet, that's the bad part, but...
Oh.
Isn't
according
it
to the scribe,
BTS?
Yeah.
What exactly is a water box PLMs? From the description, I imagine something like Squishy had, where you step on one and the water raises, and then on another it goes back down.
I think it
Well,
turns
there's
on
that.
or off water physics when you enter a certain area.
Yeah, that's the whole premise of the idea I had her do. It's worked by if you were in the PLM, or not the PLM, the BTS, you would essentially use water physics, and if you had gravity equipped, it would disable those physics.
So
Oh
it's
yeah,
sort
you
of-
could make the kind of a roundabout way of making like the local liquids that Jathies had going on.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So yeah, I guess that pretty much answers that.
It's not the
Mhm.
roundabout way. That is actually what Japhis did.
Yeah? Huh. Cool.
Did she add animated tiles too, or is it just...
I don't think
It's
so.
just
I think
the
it's just the
BTS.
BTS.
Yeah, it's just the BTS. Creates a block type, estimates underwater physics while touching them, equipping the gravity makes the blocks act like air. Can set which block type in BTS in the ASM file.
Yeah, so
They should
you'd
be
actually have to make your own animated tile for that if you wanted it.
That's not too hard.
Not too bad, at least. Combined with transparencies, I assume it wouldn't be too bad, but I don't know.
Let me see. How did you guys discover ROM hacking?
Redesign.
Redesign
Self-service-
definitely helped, yeah.
Yeah, I saw Silver Screen playing redesign. I was like, what is this? And I started looking around, and lo and behold, here I am. Still nothing important out yet, except for that Smile guide that has actually seen use.
I found out about it a long time ago when it was kind of first coming around, like with the Mario World hacks. I mean, I don't remember the exact moment, but I remember just seeing like new levels on Mario World, and I'm like, I'll be damned. You know, and then of course the next logical step was, has this been done for Super Metroid yet? So I poked around a little bit, and I found Jaffe's page with a couple of the screenshots that he had when it was way before Smile was even released. And so I remember I was like, wow, you know, I can't wait for this program to come out. And then I basically forgot about it until like another 2 years later when I think it was like version 1.2 or 1.3 or something like that.
1.23.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what happened with me. I was in high school at the time, just kind of browsing the internet, and that's when I think I first started playing emulators and whatnot, and I happened across something on YouTube with Super Metroid Redesign. I'm like, what is this? This seems really interesting. And I wanted to play it, but I couldn't get like the ROM to play, so I had forgotten about it for a couple years, and a few years later I came back and actually started hacking and whatnot.
Yeah, I think it was back in 2006 when I first saw Redesign on YouTube, but after that, I didn't do anything about it for a couple years. And then
It wasn't a couple of years, because we've been working on stuff for about 5.
Fairly certain I joined Metroid 2002 back in 2008.
That would have been about right, yeah.
Maybe it was. I don't remember now.
I don't
Did you
remember
join
what
about
it
the same
was
time I did?
exactly that drew me back to look at it again. But all I know is that when I did, that's when I decided I was going to get involved. And then through me, that's how current...
Yeah.
Or,
I will say that I had no idea I would get this deep into it, because initially, when I came back the second time, well, the first time I got Smile, and I screwed around with the landing site a little bit, and I don't think I even got past that, and then I put it back down for a couple years, and then I came back, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to do kind of I didn't know it was called a half hack then, but I was basically just going to go through all the rooms and just kind of leave the doors where they were and just fix up the rooms and change some colors and whatnot. Ooh, best hack ever. And then I started getting, ideas. I'm like, all right, I want to put some grass on the walls. I want to rotate the grass 90 degrees. And I came into a JZD, the channel, and asked about that. And then from then, here I am.
Yeah, I learned I got into it from DSO because he showed me redesign on YouTube. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And I've spent forever, because Super Metroid's been my favorite game since forever. So I still have a folder filled with all these crayon colorings and maps I've drawn, and some other stuff, some items. These would be really bad ideas. I was 6 when I was doing this.
You should still implement them into a hack.
And so, just going through and seeing that I could now, somebody actually did do something with Super Metroid. They actually made their own Metroid game, which is what I wanted to do. I always wanted to make my own 2D Metroid game. So I found out it's possible. So
I think it was unavoidable either way, because I remember when I was little, 5, 6, 7 years old, I remember drawing Earthworm gym levels on paper and Metroid, Mario rooms and stuff. Even back then, I just wanted to pick the game apart and change stuff up.
In fact, when somebody else needs to talk, I'm gonna grab my folder here, because I think I did something. That's the wrong folder.
Birds agree.
Those birds need shot.
Birds are pissed.
Somebody just left the house, I guess. It's the wrong one. Well, where's my folder? Because there's one room where I did, even back then. Oh, there we go. Because even back then, I did a really big noob mistake. in the couple of rooms I actually drew out, there are spikes everywhere.
I thought so.
Good call.
I'm like 6 and 7 drawing these things, and there's spikes everywhere. I have like 3 or 4 rooms drawn out. When they look really crappy, but there's spikes in all of them. And
I remember most boss fight rooms we drew were pretty much spikes on the floor, spikes on the wall, spikes on the ceiling, and just one tile-wide platforms.
And beyond that, the one I'm looking at now had little, I guess you'd call it, they act like Kraid's claws where they bounce off walls and stuff, but they're just spikes floating around the room too. And I guess we don't feel bad if you do it. I did it when I was 6.
I'm pretty sure I can.
Sounded like an insult there.
I'm pretty sure there were very few floors in my drawings, because I can remember like just basically just drawing like a jagged saw pattern for the floor. Like that was my floor. It's just spikes.
I mean, this is ridiculous. I've got spikes lining everywhere. Oh, and on the one tile wide platforms, I was not aware of hitboxes back then, so there's spikes on the side of those platforms. This is murder.
Did you at least like have bubbles there too?
Actually, I don't think I have a single drawing of a bubble.
What the hell, man?
I have spikes. I did it for you. I knew one day there would be somebody named Grime who loves spikes.
That's so sweet.
Are you putting bubbles back in Rise now?
I've been in Rise.
Shh, don't go anywhere else, person. I don't need him to remember.
Oh, too late. That's it. I'm taking all the bubbles out.
Blew your chances. I tried to help you.
No, you didn't. So, yeah. Spikes everywhere. Maybe I'll scan the picture and upload it sometime.
You should.
Just so people can mock me.
We did it anyway.
Maybe it'll make us not mock you.
Be like, now you'll understand why so little time came into existence.
Let's see, I'm gonna link something here. This is one of the oldest rooms I have still around, hanging about. There I got in the chat.
Not that you can see it here listening to the podcast, but
That doesn't look too bad, but what do I know?
Well, let's just say that there's high tide acid that goes above over
I
where
thought
most
so.
platforms are. So you have to perfectly timed, or else you're going to get an acid bath. And also, you have to go to the gauntlet at the start of the game. You don't have any E-tanks or anything going through this.
So, what was Torian going to look like?
it's called terrain.
I never got that far.
Is it Terrain? I've always said it Torian.
It's Torian.
Rain, Brinstar, Brinestar.
Grind on Star.
DSO and I have always called it terrain because I guess our minds created a typo in our heads. So
I remember calling it Terrain when I was really little, but then like after I was like, oh, the I is before
That's what
the
Dad
A.
called it, wasn't it?
yeah, every one of us calls it terrain.
You guys are weird.
I even say Hylian wrong. I say Hylea and Hylian. I have a whole bunch of things I mispronounce. So, actually, yeah, I think that's it. Did we hear from you, Zero, about how you discovered ROM hacking?
You didn't. I'm offended.
I'll get to it.
That's where I would be putting crickets in.
Yeah, I was trying to get a sentence in my head. With me, I was on M2K2 a lot, but never anywhere near the forums. I could have joined years ago, but I was always looking at the speed sequence breaks instead. But then I did actually join MetroidConstruction in 2009, posted a couple of times, and never went on it again until recently. Because before that, I went onto a different forum, started modding Super Mario 64, then Lunaria family brought me here. That's how I started doing this.
Well, interesting.
You know, the reason I actually joined the Metroid 2002 forums wasn't actually for hacking, but it was to be a grammar Nazi to Mantron. One of his cliffhanger videos, I had to point out to him that he had a misspelling in one of his log entries. He spelled Majesty with a G instead of a J, and I had to point it out. So I guess you could thank Digital Mantra, too, for helping me get into ROM hacking, because he's the one who got me into ROM hacking forums for Metroid.
What if it was like a magical majesty, like a majesty?
Well, that goes back to your earlier comment about, you know, his version of the Chozo being these drugged up, smoke everything you can creatures.
Yeah, they're spiritual creatures. They gotta get connected with them.
Or like the Native American.
There are a lot of mushrooms there.
Smoke all the hemp!
Oh, I don't want you here, Avast. Go away. And somebody's sleeping now. Okay. I think we heard from everybody, because I think we got you two person, right?
Yep.
Okay. You weren't important, so I didn't remember you.
Snap!
Alright, so, I guess these next two go together. What is your
Wait.
most least favorite or important thing in a hack?
Most
Code that
family-
works and code that doesn't work.
I guess, yeah.
Mine
Good
is
pals
simpler,
and
but
chocolates.
slightly different in that it's both code that work, but it's by two different people, and when you combine them in the same hack, it goes wrong horribly.
I had that, yeah.
Because they overwrite stuff. That's no good.
Or
It's
they
really
share
hard-
RAM.
It's kind of a hard question. Like,
It's hard to boil it down to, like, this is it. This is what my favorite thing. This is my most important thing.
I guess
Kinda
the
hard.
most important thing for a hack would be a hack that like works when you load it,
A hack that is playable.
and then the least important thing would be a hack that you load it and it like breaks your computer.
That might be an actual hack. You might want to look into that.
Well, then I guess they did a very good job. I guess that would be the most important thing, is a hack that works. Oh, I just broke my head a little bit.
There you go.
Glad that half of it didn't feel that.
I'm going to go ahead and say that the most important thing, in my opinion, and probably my most favorite, is the way item progression is if it's done properly. And my least favorite thing is when something is done or implemented into the hack that feels like it would be so alien to the series at all.
Like getting morph late?
Yes.
That was not in any way aimed at you, Squishy.
Okay, give me an example when Morphball's late in a different hack.
Yeah,
I think
who else-
I'll let you know when I find
Alright, then it was aimed at me. There you go.
Well, it wasn't necessarily late in the hack, but I remember it taking a little while to get it in, I think, Face On, wasn't it? Some hack I remember having to play for a pretty good while before I got it.
Phazon was a little bit in it. It wasn't that long. Bombs you got super late in the hack.
As long as it's not like the last item you get, I mean, then again, you'd be stupid to put bombs before Morph Ball, but as long as it's not the last thing you get, I suppose it's not all that bad. It's manageable, because it is a big form of movement.
To me, it just makes, like, if you have Morph Ball tunnels, it kind of makes them look a little bit awkward to have them always be at, like, right angles to make sure you can't get perma-stuck without having Morph Ball. So, to me, it kind of introduces a cramp on the level design possibilities by having it so late. So, I like having Morph Ball earlier, but I'd say my favorite thing is just having a good atmosphere like Volta had. That's what really draws me into a hack more than playability. I can play a hack that's somewhat difficult and still manage to get some enjoyment out of it as long as it has a good atmosphere. But if
Yeah.
it's just boring, repetitive, it doesn't matter how easily playable it is. I don't like it.
Oh wow, I just got an idea.
Great. I would say my most favorite thing is collecting items. Just because that's kind of what I like doing. Like, I like exploring, and so I like finding stuff in weird corners.
Is
Item
Angry Fire
size,
chosen
that's-
like your second favorite then?
Actually, I kind of like Oxide better. It doesn't have this same amount of item finding, but its physics are much nicer.
Fair point.
And what about you, Zero?
What about me?
How are you?
He's kind of zoned out over there.
Well, assuming we're still talking about most favorite and least favorite thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I already did that right at the beginning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, code that works and code that doesn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
I-
yeah.
I have my family's memory. Right now.
He's smart.
Don't be quiet, you.
Yes, I'm the one who's spaced out. Right.
I guess if we're given like serious answers for me, I would have to say probably a good palette. Like, I don't know, that's just one of those things that like, if I just don't like the colors, like kind of like what DSO was saying about atmosphere, it's just if the colors are weird, it's like even if I can tell what they were going for, like if the colors, if I just don't like the colors, it's just hard for me to really
Yeah.
get deep into the hack. Like, I'll play it and I'll enjoy it, but it's like there's just always that nagging thing like, oh, if this hack just had pretty colors.
Yeah, there's a big difference between being... There's a whole lot of things that go into making a good hack, and you can have a good hack or an enjoyable hack without including all of them, but it's good to make sure everything's been touched on somewhere and that it works well. I think, anyway. Okay, I think that's good for those two. So our last user question is, how many hacks have you made that failed and why?
Every single one of my hacks.
Let me go into my folder 1 second.
I think every one of my hacks is a failure. So
I
now I can
think
go into why. If
So it takes after its creator.
yeah,
Oh!
Oh, blow.
I kid because I love, really.
see, my earlier hacks are failures because they just are bad. And I think Pantheon's a failure in my mind because I see all the mistakes that I made and can fix, and then the other ones I just never finished. So those are failures by default.
I guess it depends what they mean by fail. Like, fail as in never got finished and released, or failed as in it was released and it just blew. In that sense, for the hacks that I've started, I mean, even though they're not released, I still haven't really like abandoned them. I mean, Dream Sequence, that's probably years and years away, but that's just because that's going to be such a huge hack, and I'm going to try to make it as large as possible and just as fleshed out. You know, like, that's something that's probably going to come like after the game is like every single byte in the game is fully documented and every bit of unused crap can be cleaned out for new content and all that. But as far as actually failed hacks, probably just the first hack I ever started like 2 years before I even came to JZD, which it didn't have a name or anything. It was just screwing around with the landing site. And
Yeah.
but none of my hacks have actually failed as far as post-release because I'm just badass.
I can't really say, like, in a sense my hacks have failed, but in a sense they haven't, because they've all kind of just led up to ideas that have built up to the one I'm currently working on that's not Super Metroid Prime. So it's like, they might not have ever got released, but they've all come together in some way.
Yeah,
leading
I
up
can
the
see
bad
that.
ideas and the good ideas.
Like, I mean, Temperus, there was a lot of complaints about the difficulty and whatnot on that, but it led
Temperus was
to,
great.
but it led to, like, you know, editing enemy graphics. It kind of taught me how to do that, to, like, make enemies by just splicing a bunch of parts together and all, and that'll be used. I'm going to do that for Rise, I decided, so.
Yeah. I know DSO and I, our first hack was, well,
Super
my first
Metroid
hack
again.
was, trying a collab hack, and that worked so well, like all collab hacks.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that
Okay,
broke
yeah,
it
that's
was
the-
Smile 2,
yeah, I forgot. about
which
that.
had the broken PLM glitch that started deleting PLMs out of rooms.
That's
Ended up breaking them.
And so we ended up going our separate ways. We decided we're going to hack separately.
Yeah, Edmund
And
and I also used to yell at each other a lot because I always felt his skills were not up to par yet.
Ooh.
And
What
his
about now?
map designing sucks.
Which did.
Just look at Angry Fire Joseph. You go,
seems
you got
like-
rooms going behind other rooms.
Hey, that was intentional.
It seems like collaboration hacks work better when they're not announced as collaboration hacks, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Because I actually forgot about that whole project-based community thing that I had. I guess you could consider that a failure in the sense that the collaboration part failed, and I'm just like, screw it, I'll just do it myself.
Ability failed
eventually.
because of the lack of competence.
Eventually.
And so, yeah, I guess like what a person said as far as not being announced as a collaboration hack, but just like when it kind of comes to the code, you know, it's like, yeah, so I need some code, you know. And I guess in that sense it's a collaboration, but not like a collaboration.
Yeah.
Like, everybody in the community do this.
Yeah.
Yes. And I guess what I
It
was
has
originally
collab
intent-
elements, but doesn't have the same level of like equal creative control. I mean, everything has to go by MM.
and most things stop there too.
Unfortunately.
Although DSO does stop a lot of my ideas too. He's like, that'd be way too difficult. I'm like, what? No, it's not. I can't do it, but
Do it anyway,
I know
slave.
it's not difficult. I can't do it, but it's not difficult.
Somebody else can, maybe.
But yeah, I guess in a sense, what Fear was going to be failed because it was just a mini boss rush. I was going to make sort of like, what is it, Sigma boss rush? I guess it's the one I was going to pattern it after, and it's nothing like that. So.
I can't say I really played any boss rush hacks really.
They're fun.
I guess in a sense, Rise is kind of like a boss rush. I mean, you encounter bosses pretty quick through it, but it's grown a lot since the demo. There's been a lot of rooms added to the areas and whatnot. So it depends on just how many items you're going to collect, if it'll be a boss rush or not. Semi-boss rush.
Yeah.
Oh, and Miss Grime was asking what a boss rush was, and it's basically just like a small hack where the bosses are real close together. And then like an RBO reverse boss order is same idea, just you start off with like Ridley and then work backwards.
An RBO boss rush. So,
There you go.
anybody else have any failed hacks?
Yep.
Yep.
Well, I guess you have restarted your hack, so.
I'm not counting that as a fail, just a restart. But there was one before where it was supposed to be Fusion-esque. It was everything was split into sectors on the ship. I ended up drawing the first room using the series tile set. Couldn't figure out how to use it, so I just drew this box using Cree pipes, and it was crap. And it had the skull on the sky. I just gave up completely.
That sounds similar to one of my projects.
Oh, let's not even start. That makes 3 of a kind.
I guess,
4 of a kind?
and I guess it depends on how broad a sense you consider a failure too.
Yeah, see, I'm considering everything a failure just because my definition is a little more vague
Yeah.
than your guys's. So
Yeah, if you broaden it, I consider the original Angry Fire Chosen to be a failure, even though it's considered A tier hack. I think it's a piece of junk just because there's too many glitches. And I don't mean the jumping kind, I just mean overall. Too many bad design choices. Or
No, I agree. I think my original version of the Super Metroid hard mode, not only was it beaten like a dead horse, but it's been done before, and it's really not. I mean, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any kind of flair to it.
I would, in that same vein, also have to say, so little time failed for what I wanted it to be.
What did you want it to be? That's what I wanted.
I would wanted something
Seriously.
that people would enjoy.
I enjoyed it.
Thought people would enjoy getting lost.
Was I the only one that enjoyed it? Because
I have gotten some messages from people who did like it, but overwhelming feedback I got was very negative about it. But, I mean, it became something completely unexpected. It became more like a troll hack, and that was not my intention. Even though you won't believe me because all the messages I wrote in there. But, I mean, it wasn't my intention to, like, aggravate people to death. I just, like, in the scrolling skybase, I just figured, well, hey, these enemies will change colors, and I'll copy one enemy color from one room just to throw them off. They can draw a map and do all that stuff. And 90% of people quit in that section. And I thought that was the easiest section.
It's because you made the dang thing.
Well, I thought it would be easier for the player just because I took out all these other parameters. You know it's the one room. You know there's an orange door, and then you have these enemies. There's a couple of bubbles flipped. So I figured, they'll figure it out.
that's
Same
the part of the
here.
game that I was like, that looks fun. I want to play that.
So figure it out if they're you.
I mean, some people did enjoy it, but overwhelmingly,
I'll admit, the only reason I enjoyed it is because I had you and DSO laughing with me through the whole thing.
Laughing
That was
with
the
or
only
laughing
enjoyable
at?
part of it. Either or.
On the
Yes.
inside, SLT makes a very good test to see if you need to be locked up. Because if you actually choose to play that thing to the end, you've got to be fucked in the head.
Or mentally numb, one of the two.
Yeah. So, I
I guess I could consider the Rise demo a failure in the sense that there was that perma stuck that ruined your video of it. Well, I did fix that though, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, obviously from my video, you also noticed I did not search and find anything. I even bombed right by some paths and didn't find them. That's how bad I was. So yeah, I guess it depends on how broad you want to consider it failed. So, okay, does anybody have anything, I guess, for like a tips for beginners, anything else they wanted to bring up that maybe we don't remember being brought up last time?
Make sure you have lots of free time.
That's a good one, actually.
Yeah.
I think another one would be to actually read the documents on the main site.
Yeah.
And read them till you understand them instead of just pretend to read them and then
Yes.
ask a stupid question that's been answered 1,000 times. And be like, I looked at the documents, but I didn't see an answer. Now, how do I open Smile?
Well, something like that. But yeah, I mean, Squishy has a lot of useful documents. Your safe station document, I have to refer to that constantly. Grime has good adding new doors document.
I actually should rewrite the saving, though, because that's...
Yeah, and I write documents that are already done already.
So do I.
No harm in that.
I had no idea it was done, though. That's a sad thing. And he did it much better than I did. Jam did.
I need to update
That's
two of my
kind of what I
documents.
do. I'll take info that's already out there and I'll just kind of put it into sort of semi-definitive, just try to get all the related material I can just into kind of one big super doc.
I will say, if you actually do go through, like you're trying to write a document for someone else to understand, it kind of helps you understand it better, too.
Yeah, it really does.
You can't teach somebody else how to do it if you don't know how to do it. You'd be like, I think you changed this here. You might want to test this.
Yeah, that's partially why I write documents, too, is it helps me.
Yeah. I wouldn't really recommend that for if you're just starting out, because you're going to be confused anyway. But
That's the thing too. I'm like, I do anything I can to like make sure like everything that I say that you do, you know, it'll be done the way the document says it was. There's no variables, and if there are variables, they're explained.
yeah.
That's good for learning now. Because some people are just like, I'm one of these people. They take it slow, and if something goes wrong, they start to panic. Except I don't panic. I wonder what went wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took a while to get past that point where, like, if, you know, I'm working on something and it's like, boom, you know, black screen, the room doesn't load. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, you know, is it a bad
happened?
pointer? Okay, is it some weird data within the pointer? I'm pretty good at diagnosing and fixing crashes
Yeah.
now. Like, I think 1 or 2 times, like, just working on Project Base, I actually had some kind of error that I just had no freaking idea what went wrong, and so I just went to a backup before it happened and just copied my work over from the broken copy that I needed to.
Yeah. There's, see, backups come in handy a lot.
Again, back up often.
Yes.
Yes.
I guess my advice would be just when you're deciding just how your hack is going to be in terms of difficulty, you should really play some hacks first and just see what you like before you go decide, I'm going to make my hack into Spike Hell. You should actually play some Spike Hell and see if you actually like it.
That is a pretty good piece of advice. Just play a bunch of hacks before you dive into it yourself. I didn't do that.
Neither did person, so.
I also think that if you have questions about how to do some things, if it's already been done in the original game, you should just go open up the original and smile and see how it was done. Instead of asking about it, you can just look for examples where what you're looking for has already been done and just look at it and see how it's done.
One other thing would be, remember that you're making a Metroid hack yourself, and that because you're doing it like that, I mean, I'm not touching on the part that, like, hey, I need help, can you help me do this. I'm saying, like, when people ask, how does this look? It's good to take critique, but it's your hack in the end. You mean, you're making it because you enjoy what you're making. So take critique lightly, but not so much that you're changing it to somebody's perspective, because, you know, it's your hack.
Yeah. I think Demanter was good with that, because a lot of people gave him grief about his palettes. He said, no, this is how I want it. So, in the end, it is your hack, so you do make the decisions about it. But it doesn't, like he said, don't completely ignore any criticism about it. Because there are some good ideas thrown out there that people have, so.
Oh, have we touched everything? I think we
I
have.
think so.
Yep.
I don't think there's really time to do the other thing, Grime.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, we'll just. I mean, I don't think that discussion will take a whole hour or anything, but maybe just like a kind of episode 2B or something, and just kind of an extension to this one.
Episode 2.5.
Yeah.
Special broadcast.
Yeah.
If you want to read, what it's going to be, just go to Begrimed.com. My site. You can. It's on my avatar on the form. If you need to. Just saying the word didn't tell the story. Just go there, and then it's on the left side. It just says, well, I'm hacking.
Yeah.
With the 3 question marks, and that's what it'll be about.
Yeah.
If I may, quite quickly, I would say read how to create new rooms, new doors, add in enemies and PLMs, and then grab the template patch.
Here,
I love that patch.
you're welcome.
Yeah, that is a good patch. It lets you work with more. You have a lot more freedom with space in
I
you.
must admit, I have no clue what it does.
It deletes everything. It's a template.
That'd probably be hard for a newcomer to take in.
Yeah. definitely. But
Hence why I said read all the documents.
Read.
Even then, man.
yeah,
I'm more of a trial and error learner. I can't read something and then just do it. I have to read something, do it, fail, read something, read it again, do it, fail, kind of get it right, fail again, read it.
so that's what takes so
Yeah.
long. I'm just playing with
Pretty
you.
much.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't disagree.
Yeah, I mean, everybody learns a different way, so.
Yeah, I
have to do
think
what
video
works for you.
lessons would be quite helpful for some of the things like reporting.
Yeah, I remember. I remember, like 2.5, 3 years ago, I made a little video tutorial. I think it was just kind of a video tutorial of how to expand rooms, and I mean, it was not long after I learned how to do it. Not long after I wrote that guide on it, but I did it. I was talking through the video, explaining the steps and everything, and then I think what I did is that, like, at the very end, when I was changing the pointer, I accidentally clicked no instead of yes to carry the data over. So it crashed the room, like on the video tutorial. I'm just like, so yeah, you click this, and then this should give you, 3,200 tile data to work with. Click, okay, no, black screen. I'm just like, closed off the video and just deleted it.
Was this video ever released? Because sounds.
No.
Oh, okay. Do you still have it?
I don't.
The,
I was so pissed off. It took me so long to set up the screen recorder and to kind of just give myself cliff notes on what to say through the video, so I wasn't just kind of droning on or repeating redundant crap redundantly and just I worked hard on that shit and then it just I'm done. But yeah,
you could have turned that into, this is why you need a backup video.
Well, it wasn't so much like I needed a backup. I did it on a clean ROM. It's just the fact that I went through a 10-minute video and it just didn't work. But yeah, definitely a lot more video tutorials because I learned a lot from I think Shadow 343 something.
Yeah, he's got some.
He made some real good videos on stuff like that.
So that's something that actually has crossed my mind that I might try eventually, but I'm not sure. Let's see. But yeah, so I guess we have the other subject for another time, and I guess if anybody has any closing comments for, I guess, this episode.
There you have it.
That's
Delicious.
how you see
Genius.
spikes in Georgia.
Bye.
Like that. Okay. So I guess
Next episode we include toilet humor.
Is it like knock-knock jokes but with toilets?
Oh my.
okay. See you.
Have a good one.
I guess my closing comment is that I can still taste blood.
Say,
Well, at least you're.
My closing comment is, what would you guys like me to say for this podcast at the beginning?
Oh, that's right.
Said
something.
Metroid Construction Podcast Episode 2.
Inspired.
Do you more creative than that?
Need to be.
no. MSD and I can get really creative with it, I'm sure.
God.
We can come up with a really creative title.
Oh, we have to
Just
do something
say it
after
in Latin.
this, if you have time.
What's that?
Me and you have to do something after this, if you have time.
I can make time.
Okay. We'll figure something out. We'll
All right.
we'll
I don't know
send Graham
exactly-
a long list of things for you to say, and you could close it too,
Oh.
because you would probably close it much better than we. You're not still recording, are you, bro?
Yeah, I am.
Oh my.
Of course he is. You should. I know your brother better than by now. Come on.
I keep thinking one of these days he'll be nice and do what I think he will, and it's not going to happen.
Well, the thing is, we haven't had an official close to the podcast yet. So
See ya. It's over. Bye. Done.
Later, people. Go back to bed. Get back to hacking, being lazy, doing whatever, playing Yu-Gi-Oh on IRC. Do it.
Oh,
Good idea. I need
Yu-Gi-Oh,
to
man.
do that right now.
Alcohol.
I like Yu-Gi-Oh as much as the next nerd, even though I don't play the game. But Yu-Gi-Oh Const.
It's everywhere in there.
A few weeks ago it was Pokemon, and then at one point it was Minecraft, and
I still do all
next it's ponies kind of goes without saying. Alright, let's try to predict what next.
We're going to be the trendsetters here.
Yeah, let's see what next.
That we won't be.
Next takeover subject of the channel will be after they get bored of Yu-Gi-Oh.
much more const.
No. Nobody's going to look forward to that. Except
Maybe it'll actually go back to like Metroid, like Super Metroid hacking.
Yeah, right.
I doubt that. That doesn't
Man,
Super
can dream.
Metroid and a Super Metroid hacking channel? You're crazy. Butter
I don't know.
toast const.
Buttered toast. Ed and Eddie Const.
Yes!
Butter toast.
Gravy.
Great. Alright.
I'm still recording, by the way.
You know, we said bye. You can stop.
Keep recording.
Ass, we're all recording.
If you don't want to get beat, you're stopping.
Well, I'm out of here, so. See y'all later.
Alright, well,
She's
Switch.